Hi, I'm ZevViewsApe, and this is my review of Grand Theft Auto 5. This game is a sprawling metropolis with a wide open countryside ready to be explored from the get-go. More open than any GTA game before it, GTA 5 boasts total access to every area in the game right from the start. Long gone are the days when one had to finish a certain section of the game to unlock a different part of the world, and the best part is, not a loading screen in sight. This is very impressive for a game almost twice as large as GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption combined. I have completed the entire game and still haven't explored every nook and cranny the world has to offer. That alone speaks volumes for its size. The game's stunning graphics push the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 to their limits, creating one of the most visually astounding games I have ever played. A major leap forward from the previous installment in the GTA series is the actually controllable and upgradable driving and shooting mechanics, two issues that incessantly plagued Grand Theft Auto 4. Slipping on the roads that felt like they were paved with butter is now a thing of the past. All the vehicles control wonderfully and feel unique. As for gunplay, it is customizable to suit your preference, and the auto-aim actually works if you choose to use it. In real estate, they say location, location, location. So too in open world games. If you have a lot of space but not much to do, the game becomes boring quick. But fill it with iconic places and fun activities, and you're sure to captivate players old and new. Well-known locations like the Santa Monica Pier, aka Del Perro, Venice Beach, aka Vespucci Beach, Vinewood and its hills, otherwise known as Hollywood and its surrounding area, Beverly Hills, aka Rockford Hills, and of course the one and only Grove Street, complete with ballers, Grove Street gangs, and the family sets of yore. Those are just some of the many instantly recognizable in-game locations. The attention to detail that is present in Grand Theft Auto 5 boggles the mind. From major things like the layout of the prior mentioned locales, matching their real-life counterparts to the T, to smaller touches like the perfect lighting sequence of Santa Monica Pier's roller coasters and world-renowned Ferris wheel at night. The sense of life in Los Santos and Blaine County is phenomenal, from the shuttle of public transportation to the individual activities of every NPC in the entire game. They're no longer there for the sole purpose of being targets of your unadulterated vehicular carnage, although you're free to mow them down at will if you wish. In GTA 5, every person has his/her own workplace and commute. Shadow an NPC for an entire day, and you will see the precision AI at work. Each character has their own special ability. Trevor's being a rage mode, where his attack hits harder and he is able to take more damage. This lasts as long as you can kill people at an increasing pace, so spree kill on until you run out of targets. It's great to use on mission or to wreak havoc on the general populace. Either way, it overpowers your assailants almost instantaneously. Michael's special ability is a slow-motion Max Payne-esque shooting ability, where he will go into bullet time, making him look as cool as Neo and upgrading your accuracy and reaction time through the roof. When you're ambushed, outgunned, or outnumbered, this special levels the playing field in your favor. Franklin's special ability may not have its own mission like Trevor's Rages, or be as useful on mission as Michael's bullet time, but it is the most useful in the game world. His ability puts driving in slow-mo so you can lose your tails, make sharp turns at the drop of a hat, avoid accidents, and swerve through traffic without a scratch, and look badass as all hell while doing it. Abilities are upgradable. Want to be a better gunman? Go to the range. A better driver? Race. A more fit person in general? Play sports or do triathlons. Want to complete the dream you've always had of being an ace pilot? Go to flight school. This also applies to your specials. Just use them as much as you can so they get more and more powerful. This creates activities that are fun and serve to better your characters, increasing your skill roster while giving you a heightened sense of control and progression, as you see the results of your efforts come to fruition. This is a huge improvement over the skewed progression system of Grand Theft Auto 4. The characters are deep and interesting this time around, not just shells or stereotypes of a specific time period like the protagonists of earlier games, or nearly as hypocritical as Niko Bellic, the peace-loving philosopher that takes hit contracts and plots murderous revenge on the side. In 5, it feels like most of the choices you are presented with are options that do not contradict the inherent traits of our multifaceted protagonists, only to advance the story. And what a story it is. It centers around heists that are executed by using two basic approaches. One, the stealthy Ocean's 11 style heist, where you get in silently, take down all threats without tripping any alarms or raising suspicions, take the loot, and tiptoe out with no one the wiser. The other takes a brash approach of famous knockoff artists, Bonnie and Clyde, rushing in guns blazing, suppressing any and all threats with overwhelming force, taking your hostages and stash, then fighting off any police who decide to apprehend you before making an action movie getaway. Heists such as these range from small storage van jobs, such as the one you're watching now, to the in-game final mission of destroying the biggest bank ever by taking out all the cache of gold bricks which you can possibly carry, otherwise known as the Big One. And it is just as awesome as it is professed throughout the game's story. These missions are planned and perfectly executed, something which I can say of the story missions in general. Not a single action is for naught. Everything you do is relevant to the advancing story, and that is a magnificent improvement to say the least. Another improvement is the autosave feature. It may not seem like much, but when you have to drive for 30 minutes to get to a 10-minute action sequence, die 2 minutes later, and have to do all of that over again, you will be very thankful that this doesn't ever happen in GTA 5, since the autosave saves not just periodically like most broken autosaves do, but obsessively to ensure your lack of frustration. The main protagonists constantly play off one another to create dialogue that is not only believable but hilarious at the same time. Let's watch some. Warning, the following sequence contains harsh language and is incredibly funny. Enjoy. Viewer discretion is advised.
You know, I've been thinking about you, Trevor. Your lifestyle.
Oh, have you?
Really? Yes, I have. People always try to label you. You know? Maniac, psycho,
Friend, industry leader.
in some ways you defy categorization. But then,
What?
think about it. Where you live.
Sandy Shores, you precious ass. I'm sorry there ain't a place nearby for you to get your colonics.
Right. But why are you out here?
It's off the grid. We're away from it all. It's somewhere real and authentic. This is America! And real people ain't been priced out yet.
Yeah, well, what if it gets gentrified?
Then I'll fucking move.
Okay. What about the way you dress?
What about it? I don't give a shit what I wear.
No. If you don't give a shit, you wear clean clothes that fit. So yours are all a little out there, a little wacky.
Whatever's in the shop is what I get. Jesus, what is this?
It's not an absence of taste, T. It's the opposite of taste.
You should be a stylist.
And then there's the tattoos, the hair, the weird music, the funny toys, the niche drugs, the everything.
What the fuck are we talking about?
You are a hipster.
What?
You're a hipster.
I hate hipsters.
Classic hipster denial.
I abhor hipsters. I eat them for fun.
Hipsters love saying they hate hipsters.
What I really fucking do.
Self-hatred. Common hipster affliction.
Well, it'll be because I'm living out here away from the bean machines and the bankers.
You're gentrifying. Soon, The skinny jeans will show up, then the skinny lattes, and then the bankers. And you'll be somewhere else, starting the cycle all over again. Maybe you're not a classic garden variety hipster, but you're what the hipsters aspire to be. You, Trevor, are the proto-hipster.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't agree with what you're saying. You're talking bullshit. And you're trying to wind me up. But I'm very, very angry. And I want this conversation to stop right away.
Hipster.
Fuck you! Fuck you, Michael! Say it again.
I've made my point. I'm not a sadist.
See what I mean? That had Rockstar's wit written all over it. So now you've seen the guys in action. We can take a more in-depth look at the three of them. Michael is a retired bank robber supposed to be living it up in Rockford Hills, but his own dysfunctional family and need for some action / escapism in his life attribute to his getting back in the heisting game, so to speak. Although he has a prominent case of midlife crisis, one doesn't see the game emphasize this one point over and over again, since there is so much more depth to the character. He is a conflicted man who on one hand wants normalcy and on the other craves mayhem. He knows he is a remorseless killer, yet still believes he can do right by his wife and kids. In short, he is very much off kilter, but depending on your choices as the player, he can regain some level of middle ground by the end of the story, but one should keep in mind that he is only as stable as a deranged, pessimistic old man can be. Without further ado, let's dive right into the acid trip that is Trevor Phillips. Trevor, what can I say? Compared to him, old Mikey's a perfect picture of immaculate mental health. This total psychopath has no problem violating and brutally murdering anyone that gets in his way, or just happens to piss him off a bit. He's also a cannibal. Need I say more? I don't think you've got any more questions as to who the most fun character to rampage around with is. He blames abusive parents and tons of meth, although those who know him well enough, such as Michael and the player, know he was screwed up in the head from the very beginning. He is the longtime friend of Michael, and the two have great chemistry for a pair of total loons, as shown by the prior video. Rockstar could have pegged him as a wacko and been done with it. However, they gave this character a far more interesting personality. For instance, his hate of hypocrites and his dual consideration of himself as a morally upstanding citizen make him even scarier. He may be a hipster, as shown in the dialogue with Michael previously. That was some of the best in the game, by the way. Trevor does have more notable traits that are more noble, including his love of truth, as well as his unhesitating defense of any woman who he feels has been accosted, literally or figuratively. Keep in mind that this comes from the guy who lives quite literally in a loft space just behind his very own strip club. That's what makes him interesting. He may show a genuine care for an abused housewife, so to help her out, he'll cut off one of her husband's ears. This fluctuation from defender of morality to a devil incarnate makes him absolutely terrifying and extremely intriguing as the story progresses. Last but not least is Franklin. Franklin Clinton is probably the least exaggerated and most realistic character of the bunch, and his story is a lot more heartstring pulling than the tale of an abused kid turned lunatic that Trevor's is, or the bank robber turned parenting failure that Michael's is, to take some creative license. He is the truly tortured soul of the bunch, the one that sees his gang culture isn't getting him anywhere, and the most OGs have left nothing but grave sites. Even so, Franklin can see he won't make it on the straight and narrow, and that's not for lack of effort, but for recognizing that, like Michael, the only way men like him are ever going to make big money is by a professional level of criminal activity. Being the most rational and morally legitimate anti-hero of the three, he often has to break up Trevor and Michael's not-so-petty arguments. This makes him a grounding anchor in a sea of nutjobs, and that alone makes him a great foil for both of your favorite certifiables. The game throws a satirical lens over everything: the West Coast life, gamers, first-person shooters, Republicans, Democrats, hippies, the news media, the internet generation, Twitter, Facebook. Nothing is safe from Rockstar's sardonic wit, including the stock market, major motion picture industry, television, and of course, radio. The state of San Andreas is filled with mansions to buy in the flats and cannabis dispensaries to run in Venice Beach, liquor stores to rob in the Alamo Sea, and elk to hunt in Boyne County. The amount of things to do in this living, breathing world is enormous. Mini-games aren't mini any longer. They are bona fide activities with depth and actual quality, such as golf, darts, tennis, yoga, parachuting, going to the shooting range, hunting, racing off and on road, as well as in water, and participating in triathlons, mountain biking, playing the stock markets, the LCN, manipulated by your in-game decisions, and the Bossack, affected by players the world over. Yes, that is meant to sound as I have said it. Going to the movies, watching TV, listening to the radio as you cruise down the sunny streets, or getting it on at the gentlemen's clubs scattered throughout the game. Or you can just make your own activities like I demonstrate in this video, by racking up my wanted level and driving a jet ski away from police choppers that I try to take down with my submachine gun all the while. It's moments like the one just described that really remind you just how much one can do with this game. Not only do all of the aforementioned activities offer an enjoyable distraction from the main game and side quests galore, but are enjoyable in and of themselves. And with that, Rockstar has set the bar quite high for open world side activities in the future, for future Grand Theft Autos and any open world games after this one. Now, imagine all that but with your friends, and playing as a character you've made. It's not possible, you say. I'm dreaming, you exclaim. Well, don't you dare wake me, because my dream is quite real, and what I think of multiplayer is coming up next. It's the entire single-player experience in terms of gameplay and activities, and then some. You are playing with a character that you create, experiencing a totally new story, set a little bit before the events of the main game. You can experience this ride alone, but I don't see why you would want to, when you can play with friends, in personally created social club-linked crews, or join much bigger online crews built from existing communities like the Game Informer crew I roll with online. Playing with best buds and public alike, doing specially tailored story missions, all new heists, playing vehicular or just straight up death matches with Rockstar and player created maps, as well as having races set or spontaneously marked at courses in any point in the free roam mode. You can buy clothes, houses, guns, cars, and have a property all your own, or just wreak havoc against the game world and fellow players alike. All this mayhem can be watched on Weasel News, which gives helicopter coverage of wanted players, or just the closed circuit television of your apartment and or house, which lets you play Big Brother, always watching others, if you want to be creepy like that. My favorite activities include robbing liquor stores with friends, screaming over the mic and seeing a terrified clerk shovel cash into the bag, before driving off in my personal vehicle back to my house and just kicking it. Missions and carnage are always better with friends, but the one thing that does get on my nerves is the lack of a properly functioning mute button for some of the jackasses in public lobbies. Come on, Rockstar, it's 2013 for God's sakes. This should be patched ASAP. That, along with the good sport bad sport system, which is a system where players in free roam get kicked into a bad sport lobby with fellow trolls, destroying the personal property of others or being voted jerks. Although it shouldn't be considered trolling to blow up someone's car in self-defense. Among other things, this is free mode, and that's why there is a passive mode for those who do not want to be hassled by the Trevors of the online world. It's a great idea, but it has bad implementation, because this is not Unicorn Happy Rainbow Land. Don't punish other people for playing GTA 5 violently. A better option would be to just make them pay the others' in-game car insurance, and have some kind of review board for people voted bad sports or something. Not ban those bad sports from playing with friends or playing altogether. I've got to hand it to Rockstar. The bad sport dunce caps are a nice touch though. Aside from those issues and the glitches that are unavoidable in multiplayer, although almost non-existent in single player, given their fair share of problems, since a lot of them are either patched or in the process of being patched, I can take those as a minor grievance. All things considered, this game gets a 10 out of 10 in my opinion for the single player, flawless in story, character design, graphics, and gameplay. However, the multiplayer gets a 9.8 for the issues listed beforehand. This puts it up to a total of 19.8 out of 20, making this game the best of the year, maybe even the console generation.